Geordie journos back at St James's Park. All have a good Christmas, lads? Especially after 3 points for Newcastle United against Aston Villa this afternoon.
Yeah, I had a good Christmas.
Good.
You?
Beautiful Christmas.
Was it?
It was a beautiful Christmas.
It's lovely, that. No, I did have a really good one. I hope everyone else out there did too. Whether it was a good one, a bad one for you, whatever, I think those lads out on the pitch there will probably put a smile on your face either way, especially if you're watching this video.
Exactly, because Boxing Day, especially at St James's Park, feels like rarely get wins. Last year it was difficult. Today, I mean, a minute in, or 1 minute 20 seconds in, whatever you said it was, Anthony Gordon gets Newcastle off to a flyer, and they didn't really look back from there. I thought it was it's 4 wins in a row now, flying in terms of goals, but it's another game where they've scored 3 goals, probably could have scored double that. They had 3 disallowed.
Yeah, 11 goals in the last 3 Premier League games without anybody else registering. It probably could have been 20 when you think about it. The chances that they've created, the teams that they've played. In analysing that game, I think it's almost important to put like a wider context on it. And maybe we've looked at the last 2 games when they've played arguably 2 teams who would probably get relegated in Ipswich and Leicester, and looked at it and thought, really, how much do we know about what that performance really is like? Look, we've complained where they haven't put teams to the sword lower down the division, and they've went and done that. They've kind of got rid of that sort of thing, that sort of monkey off their back in many ways. And then today felt like the first true test ahead of a testing couple of weeks, I would say. But I don't want to put like a caveat on this one. I think the red card is such a defining moment in this game.
Yeah, it is.
And as good as Newcastle United were, they got 1-0 up at the time. A lovely goal from Anthony Gordon, like fantastic. And I was really pleased to see him put a finish in like that, because I think this season, what he's kind of lacked from last season, he hasn't lacked any of the endeavour, he hasn't lacked any of the effort, any of that, any of the leadership from the front, the pressing, all that kind of stuff. He's probably just lacked the final product. So it was good to see him smash one in like that. And look, to beat that goalkeeper in that manner is difficult, because he is the best goalkeeper on the planet in terms of shot stopping. He's unbelievable.
I thought he was Villa's best player today, and they still conceded 3 goals.
He was, because it could have been more without him. So it was good, but a defining moment in the game was the red card, and I'm sure we'll come up whether we think it was, it wasn't, or whatever, and you guys will have your own views as well. But I think Villa were just getting a bit of a foothold in the game, and it did look like a game that could go either way at that point. It wasn't defined. But what Newcastle United did do is Villa hung in there, but then when they got the second goal, that was when the floodgates really opened.
Yeah.
I think one of you two turned, was it you, Dom, turned and said, these are gone.
That second goal for about 5 minutes completely killed Villa, and it was in that spell where Newcastle had a goal disallowed. Jacob Murphy hits the ball.
Open goal, hits the ball.
He has another one where he passes to the goal that got disallowed. Should just go himself, in my opinion.
Yeah, I need to see all those goals again, because of the 3 disallowed today, and I'm not sure at least one of them. I couldn't understand. I've not seen the replays.
Harsh.
Does Bruno's hit his arm?
Well, it obviously does, yeah.
It must if they've done it, but it looks, I couldn't tell if it's hit his arm.
It's a ruse, isn't it? It's a handball, so it hits your arm directly, even if it's unintentional.
The other one was that one. I didn't know if he was offside or not, but I think there was some people in the live trying to, if you'd seen the live, were sort of explaining to me something to do with the goalkeeper, where the goalkeeper was.
Yeah.
I still thought he was in line with the centre back though, but we don't have the.
No, but it was the goal where the goalkeeper was, so there had to be 2.
Yeah, no,
I
know the goalkeeper was further forward, but it looked like he was in line. Obviously, he wasn't, because he got flagged offside.
Yeah.
But it's hard to know these things. You don't have the rolling commentary of Amazon.
Yeah, and our screen was broke as well.
There was no signal on our screen today, so.
So we didn't get second viewings really of them, unless we peered over the top to the broadcast crews and get a little watch on there. But no, that's what I mean. I'm really positive that they're scoring goals. That confidence is flowing back.
Again.
They're looking like scoring goals. They're creating chances
the team as well, which is good.
And but like, how much do we really know? Like, I think that look, they were toe-to-toe with Villa today. It was an even game. Newcastle had the edge. They were 1-0 in front, but it was an even game. So that maybe says that's what they're at the moment. They're kind of about that level, and that's all we kind of want them to be. Look, Aston Villa aren't quite as good as they probably were last season, playing a lot more games with the Champions League and things like that. But they're a good test. They're a good side, capable of beating anybody in this division. I think Newcastle United are kind of in that mould now as well, that they look capable of creating chances against any team. Next few weeks is not going to be easy. It's going to be a really tough one. They've got some really, really awkward games.
Yeah.
Manchester United are a shadow of what they were previously. I don't even know if they're a shadow of the shadow of the shadow. I'm not even sure what they are at the moment. Be missing some key players as well. But it's just like echoes of performances of old. It's just not a place that Newcastle United have enjoyed going to.
A bit like Villa is in St James Park.
I know, it's amazing. I think that'd be amazing. That Aston Villa, almost like when they see the fixture list at the start of the season, we'll go St James Park, scratch that off. We'll get beat there. We'll get nothing there. But no, I think it's going to be a tough few weeks, and we'll know a lot more about this team in 3 weeks' time, when we've got got to go to some tough places.
Yeah.
Got to go to Manchester United, which is a really not being a happy hunting ground. They've got to go to Tottenham, which could be anything. It literally could be anything, even though they're not playing amazingly well. You could pick any score. I think they're not playing amazingly well. They will win one, lose one. They're very inconsistent. And then Arsenal, of course, in the League Cup feels quite sort of definitive. Really, it's sort of like go there and stay within a goal. Now that sounds probably negative, but I'm just being a realist here. Yeah. Stay within a goal and bring them back here. So it's going to be a tough few weeks. But I feel like I've jumped all over the place away from the game. I'm interested to see what you guys thought. Did you think it was a red card? As I said, it was the definitive moment of the game. Jordan, do you think it was a red card?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. Eddie Howe thought it was harsh. Alan Shearer thought it was harsh. Two very qualified people, may I add.
Yeah.
Unai Emery definitely thought it was harsh going on at his post-match rant. It was quite astonishing, actually, I thought. We talked about Mikel Arteta last year. I thought Unai Emery took it to the next level.
Did he?
He was gesturing. He was in a sort of a verbal with Luke Edwards at one point when he was asking about something that happened in the second half, and Luke Edwards didn't know what happened in the second half. No one in the room knew what happened in the second half.
We didn't care what happened in the second half, but Unai Emery kept going, but what about the second half? And it was just like, no, what about the first half? Didn't answer the question. What I'd say, the sort of Mikel Arteta comparison, Mikel Arteta was very vocal and very sort of assertive in what he was saying, and saying it was a disgrace and stuff last year. Unai Emery, if you talk about managers losing the plot, I thought he said a lot of things, said them passionately, but I'm still not quite sure the point he was trying to make with what he said.
He basically wanted the referee to not make a decision and then VR to look at it, which is silly because it takes the authority away from the referee.
The referee's got to make his decision.
Yeah. So he wanted the referee to consult VAR, having already
sent
him off, or not send him off and still consult VAR, which
I still think
is basically implying a rule change.
If you let the referee re-referee that decision, I still think he sends him off, because it's an it's an intended movement that's unnatural, deliberately towards the body of the player, totally unnecessarily. Yeah. The first one where, look, let's not beat around the bush here. We've all kicked the ball at crap levels, all that kind of thing. But you know what you're doing. He's going down. He's thought, you know what, I'm going to cheap shot you. I'm going to catch you on the way down. And he's only half done it. Doesn't matter. Stupid boy. Shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. It was quite easy for him in that situation to avoid the player, in my opinion. And I think if you watch it back...
But the thing is, you didn't have to put your foot down on him, do you? Yeah. You could easily just stretch your leg out.
Yeah, 100%.
And you don't have to stamp. And he didn't stamp. I'm not saying he did. But it's that movement and it's that the way that he did it. But I think that you check the other leg before the stamp as such, and I think he's trying to catch him there. I think he's just cheap shotting him. He's thought, you know what, I'm going down anyway. I'm going to land on you. Yeah. What I'm going to do with my foot, and you know what? So what? Get yourself off, son.
Unai Emery said he got up straight away and said sorry, which is why he thinks.
Oh, well, that's fine then, aye.
Which is why he thinks it was unintentional, and he said, like, is it a red card? Is it not? He thinks it wasn't a red card, but almost could see why, but then he thinks a 3-game ban is harsh, so they're going to appeal it. But how can he appeal it?
Do you know what? I'm all with Unai Emery here. Do you know what? I think all red cards should be downgraded to yellows if you say sorry.
Bring him back out for the second half.
It's just fair play. I know.
So lad. He said sorry.
You've got
Let him back on the pitch.
You've got to sort of say sorry to everybody.
Well, the big talking point after the game really was what happened at half time, and what did happen at half time I guess we'll never know, but Eddie Howe effectively confirmed that a 20-man mass melee between two sets of players and staff happened, which saw Jason Tindall sent off and one of Aston Villa's analysts. So
what's the difference between a brawl and a melee?
Well, I've described it as both. I think
It's not the same
both,
thing,
Both
really.
are fair.
I would
There's synonyms,
I would
aren't
say
there?
it's the
Get
same
your
thing.
thesaurus
A
out.
bro's more like fists than that, isn't it?
What's a melee then? Melee's the
Don't know. Melee
Oh.
sounds a bit softer.
It does sound
quite-
softer. It does. It does
But we
sound
don't know. It
softer.
could be anywhere. It could be
Yeah.
a major melee.
Well, Eddie Howe tried to play it down despite confirming that it was effectively that. He said, well, but you've probably got 16, 17 people just trying to diffuse the situation and it just looks worse than it is in this tight confined space when maybe a couple of people are going at it and then the rest are trying to calm it down.
be
He
great.
said to draw your own conclusions, and I'm drawing my conclusion that someone confronted Jason Tindall and everyone jumped on and tried to protect
Well, we've
Jason
seen
Tindall.
it right in front of us that Tyndall and Emery were going right at it
He
for
was
some considerable
doing
amount of
that
time, and it ended up with him doing that. Look, he's got this air about him, hasn't he, Tyndall? He's an arrogant, confident boy. Nothing wrong with that, really, I suppose.
No.
You know, everyone's got their own egos, particularly in football. Nothing wrong with that at all. Look, they're like a bunch of blokes. You shouldn't be throwing fisticuffs down the tunnel when you know the importance of it.
We don't know if that happened, like.
If that happened, you know what I mean. If whatever's happened, pushing, shoving, it shouldn't happen. But look, it's a game. It's a game played by men. It's going to happen from time to time, isn't it? Is he going to get a ban? Does he get some kind of touchline ban? One
Be a
game.
one-match touchline ban, I think, based on the Premier League rules.
Well, it's all right. They've got a replacement, Graham Jones.
Graham Jones
he
stepped
came-
straight
he came.
in, didn't he?
Stepped up the day.
He's not the
Seamless.
type. Graham Jones is more likely to put the arm around somebody in than be shouting a ball and that. than
Calm
others.
down, son. Calm down.
Yeah, he's everybody's friend, Graham Jones. You see him talking to all kinds of. I seen him at Ipswich. He was talking to everybody when
He sometimes goes in the press box, actually, so
Yeah, he does, yeah.
is sometimes a bit further back.
he is. Yeah.
Will we see Jason Tindall in the press box at Man U?
Is he allowed?
It's a touchline ban, isn't it? We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it was interesting because Eddie Howe said, well, if you send Jason Tindall off, which he's not sure why he got sent off, then surely you have to send 15 people off because that's how it felt. Although then Unai Emery said he didn't see it, which I don't know how true that is. But we'll move on because second half, I think one thing you said was Aston Villa with 10 men didn't really look like they were playing with 10 men until the second goal, until Alexander Isak scores his 12th goal of the season, 10th goal in his last 10 Premier League games. He's flying at the moment, and
I don't think it was
Newcastle
obvious.
didn't look back from there.
I don't think it was. You could tell Newcastle had more players, but I don't think it was like so obvious. It wasn't 11 v 10. I didn't think in that game.
It's
And I
because it
don't
was
think-
a striker. I think it was just
I don't think
Villa
Villa were
had less.
massively deterred by it. I think they obviously thought if we can hang in a bit and we can nick a goal, then they can make a real contest of it. But like you say, it was like popping a bubble when the second one went in, and it was how many are they going to score? I genuinely thought it could be 5 or 6.
I think it should have
Newcastle were ramping for 10 minutes after that second goal. It just peppered the lasers in. It doesn't really seem to be making much of an impact, this shooting the opposite way, does it?
It felt like it for a little
Oh,
bit.
you were gutted when Bruno
I was
lost his
gutted when
toss.
Bruno lost his toss. Oh. I know, we're watching it intently. We all stood up, we're like, watching who's he lost it. Oh no. So no, it hasn't really made much of a difference. It's just a superstition thing. There is obviously a hill here. There's a preference to which way you want to be shooting or running up and down the hill. But that fit, lads, really, the marginal difference that makes, it can't really make a lot. It's just a familiarity thing, isn't it? But no, I think the players can take a lot of credit for today. If we're going to look a little deeper in what we thought worked well, I think the two centre halves were outstanding.
Yes.
I think Dan Burn headed, won everything. I thought Fabian Schär, I don't know what that is. I think it's taking St James's Park to bits. Some hammering as well. Sorry if you can hear that on this. We're amazing new mic. I don't know what they're taking with. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. Is it not the camera?
Yeah.
It's the camera that runs along. You might have seen this on. What was this game?
Amazon.
Amazon. You might have seen it. The camera that runs along the Milburn stand. They seem to be hammering and taking it down and taking it to bits. But yeah, the two centre halves. I thought Fabian Schär had a performance that he's had really. In fairness, he's had an iffy couple of months. I don't think he had a decent start of the season. I think he's been a bit iffy
Got
recently.
sent off, didn't he?
No, I mean after
Once
that.
he came back,
But I don't think he's been at his best. I thought today he looked really good. I thought he dealt with every one of the centre forwards that they had on there, whether that was Duran, whether it was Rodgers for a while, and whether it was Watkins. I just thought it was like taking sweeties off a little kid. Like, he was literally just taking the ball off them with ease. It was good to see, and it was good to see him get that distribution back as well. But Dan Burn alongside him, they're quite a good foil for each other. It didn't work at the start of the season, but they've built a real partnership that looks more akin with the kind of partnership that they had in that first season under Eddie Howe. I think they're working really, really well together. Going into the midfield, I thought those three probably dovetailed better today than I've ever seen them dovetail.
Yeah, excellent.
I thought Sandro Tonali, I put it in my half-time analysis that I thought he was outstanding that first half. Few people picked up the fact that he gave the ball away a couple of times. Yeah, I think he did. I think there was a couple of cheap gifts of possession to the opposition, but also by the same token, I think his off the ball stuff, he was just hoovering things up when it was needed.
Won the ball back for the opening
Won
goal.
the ball, that's what I mean. He was winning the ball back and starting offensives. It was just, I thought he was brilliant. He faded a touch in the second half, but then I thought that was when Joe Linton and Bruno really came into their own. And Bruno is a threat now. I'm not saying he's the best finisher, but he's always looks like he's on the end of things. He's always the extra man breaking into the box when it goes to the back post. He's like there, ready to head the ball, and he's just like you've mentioned it before. You keep saying just such a clever footballer. He knows where he should be and he knows where he's meant to be, and I think that's probably been the biggest gift that Tonali's given, is just unleashing Bruno to become a totally different player in this team. One we haven't seen since again the first season. So no, I think it was good. Joe Linton was everywhere. It was good to have him back in the team because he is a better midfielder than Joe Willock. I just don't think there's any doubt about that. It's just my opinion. I'm not saying Joe Willock's a bad player. I just think Newcastle United are a better team with Joe Linton firing. He doesn't always fire, but when he's playing well, and you got the other two alongside him playing well, it just works brilliantly against a tough team. They've got some good midfielders, so Newcastle had to be at their very best, and it was shaping up to be a really tough contest.
It was a really good game, I thought, in probably until the red card.
The red card defined the game, and we can't really look past that. I think, in my analysis, you've got to say that the red card decided the fate of this fixture. Yeah. That was my opinion. That's probably why you're seeing someone like Emery so infuriated at the end of the game.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, shout out to Joe Linton because great finish as well. It takes a lot to root Emi Martinez to his spot, and did that, deserved his goal. Newcastle, I think, probably in the end with the man advantage could have scored a few more as well today. But yeah, shout out to Sandro Tonali coming in, that number 6 role. He's absolutely made it his own, and I think the key thing with Sandro Tonali, which Bruno we all know lacks maybe a little bit of, Tonali's pace over 5 yards is as good as anyone I've seen, and as a number 6 that's so important. Those gaps that used to exist and were like horrible between the midfield and defence, particularly last season at times and at parts this season, now no longer exist.
He can close them up, can't he? Because he's got that extra yard of pace.
Look at that in the first half when he ran the full length of the pitch to go and close Emi Martinez though.
Yeah.
It's like 5 minutes.
It was brilliant, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it
and
just shows how quick he is, by the way.
He gets this ball, he gets it.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't quite, but it's that determination. And shout out as well, good to see Matt Target back, of course, but Kieran Trippier, right back. He comes in. Tino Livramento, ill, not in the team today, should be back for Man U, Eddie Howe said after the game. But Kieran Trippier comes in.
Is Trippier alright?
Yes, Eddie Howe said it was always a fitness thing with Kieran Trippier.
Okay.
Could he get through the game? Unfortunately, couldn't today, but should be okay again for Man U. They'll assess him ahead of that game though. I thought he did really well, given the circumstances. It's his first start since October, almost 3 months without a start. Comes into the team today, and I think again against 10 men, but didn't put a foot wrong for the most part.
Yeah, he was booked quite early on, wasn't he? But I thought he stuck his defensive task after that. Just a proper pro. Like, you can just see he just oozes sort of calmness and leadership when he's on the pitch, always barking out orders. Just a classy footballer, and he probably reminded a lot of people that he's still a top class right back. I think probably his age and fitness maybe dictates how the levels he can get to now.
Yeah,
and he got, I think it was 70 minutes he got in a day, or just over that. And,
yeah, a bit over that.
And yeah, he's barely played any football. It's been probably a frustrating year for him because he went from double figures sort of last year in assists, and then I'm sure it's only about 14 appearances he's made this year because of injuries and all sorts. So I think we've seen that injuries have caught him a little bit, but when you can get him on the pitch, he's a quality footballer. And I've always said, and I think you said it as well, if you could give Tino Livramento Kieran Trippier's right foot, that would be a hell of a right back, because his final ball is usually quality, okay, albeit not all the time, but he's just a very, very good technician, and yeah, I thought he's really, really good today, and it was good to see him back in. Whenever I can get Kieran Trippier on the pitch, I think Newcastle are better for it.
So that poses a question in many ways. If both are available and fully fit, who starts at right back at Old Trafford? I think he probably goes with Livramento.
I think Livramento comes back.
But I would stick with Trippier.
If he was 100% fit and he had no after effects from today's game, then I would. But I think the next game's only in 4 days' time.
Yeah, that's the thing. And
so it's a really quick turnaround.
But it's still quite a lot of time for Tino Livramento to get back. We've had to move inside. The leaf blower victim. Another video victim of the leaf blower. Yeah. But yeah, the point I was trying to make, I think it's a tough one. Eddie Howe will make the right call based on fitness, I'd like to think, of his players. Kieran Trippier has obviously felt the effects today. Eddie Howe said he'll be assessed. Tino Livramento has obviously been ill. Who's going to be the fitter player for Manchester United? That's a big question. I always am an advocate of Kieran Trippier's qualities, and I always like to see him in the team. But then I understand the long-term benefits of giving Tino Livramento regular football. So, yeah, I'll just trust Eddie Howe to make the right decision for Man U and dance around who I think should start, because it's hard to say at this moment.
I'd go Trippier. It's not really in question for me. I'm not doubting Livramento. I think he's a good young player with lots to like about his game. He's a fantastic athlete.
Yeah.
When you've got open spaces for him to run into, he can cause havoc. He needs to improve his final delivery. He needs a bit of finessing, I think, as a footballer. But he's a young lad who looks willing to learn, and has definitely added something since he signed. So I've got no doubt he can maybe keep improving. But for me, I think Trippier, even at his age, is still ahead, in my opinion, in terms of fullbacks. And if his head's in the right place and if he's fit, I would always put him on my team sheet. But there might not be a lot of people agree with that. I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with that. Because I see it in the comments when they mention anything to do with Trippier. I thought he was outstanding today. I genuinely did. And maybe he's not outstanding, but I thought he had a good game.
He did have a good game, considering he hadn't played a decent chunk. He hadn't started a game since that Everton game in October where he got his initial hamstring injury. I think, considering that, he's come into the side and been fairly seamless.
I thought he had good balance. I thought really good balance. I thought for the first time in a while, Newcastle had actually felt like they had real width today. I think that was to do with Trippier and Murphy. So
yeah, another assist for Jacob Murphy. Should have been 2.
He's the stat man, as we said. He's just the stat man, isn't he?
They've got a few there in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes as well.
But I think there's only 2 players in the. I think I've seen this statistic somewhere. You probably know this. 2 players in the Premier League at the moment got more assists than Jacob Murphy.
It's good going. Yeah. I couldn't tell you.
Do you know who they are?
No.
I can remember one. I can't remember the
Salah.
Salah.
Imagines one.
Salah. Salah was one of them. Might have been Saka. The other one,
Saka's got a lot.
Yeah, I think they're the only 2. I think he's got 7. I could be stating. I am the anti-stat man.
He's got 7 goal involvements in his last 4 Premier League games, which is some going.
Unbelievable. He's on a rich vein of form. And look,
although was probably one of Newcastle's quieter players, I'd say, today.
He was a 7 out of 10, wasn't he, today?
With an assist. Should have been 2.
Assist. You know what? I've said this in the live. He made the kind of run that only he makes.
It was a great run.
It was. And Bruno made the type of pass that only he can make, where he finds him. I thought, I don't know, this is getting a bit technical, but there was I can't remember what it was for. Was it one of the disallowed goals? Tonali's pass, where he sort of reverse inside the fullback. Yeah.
That was Bruno's.
Was that for Bruno's disallowed goal?
Yeah.
I just think there was a lot of good performances today, and it would have been, although I am delighted with the 3 points, it would have been nice to have seen how the game played out and how good Newcastle United really are against 11 men.
The only thing I would say is I think you look at these games on paper I had last week and you would say expect to win all them, but it's the way they're playing that makes me feel like this is like they have turned the corner, because it's been so free flowing. And I know it was reduced to 10 men today, but they just haven't looked in any danger really.
No.
Of losing the football match, and they're scoring lots of goals and creating lots of chances and look solid at the back, and that's credited. I would say Dan Burns led it. I think he's been Mr. Consistent alongside Lewis Hall. Fabian Schär stepped up today, so I think the balance of the team is probably the best we've seen it for. Well, it feels like it's the best we've seen it for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Martin Dubravka, 10 out of 10 performance again.
Another one.
Flawless.
Three
Berry
clean sheets in a row.
It's Berry had a save to make again. There was a couple of catches where he dropped, but he still done enough to claim the corner, albeit probably the second attempt. But
he's yet to concede a goal in the Premier League this season.
Digne's free kick, it was a good save.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the one.
He fumbled one claim.
Yeah, that's what I was
Other than
talking
that, it was spot on.
Yeah. Oh well, shall we have a little word for the sponsors?
Yes.
We've got some proud sponsors here of the Geordie Journals, of course. We've got Mitigate. Mitigate transforms workplace mental health, mitigating legal risks, reducing absenteeism and boosting productivity, delivering up to £9 ROI per £1 invested. Book your free demo today. Of course, all the details that you need for Mitigate are down below. They're proud sponsor of the Geordie Journal, so we've got some fantastic companies on board and potentially some more to come in the not too distant future as well. And of course, we've got 4Rivers Financial Planning, which I'm sure will flash up on your screen at some point now. 4Rivers Financial Planning for all of your bespoke pension advice, planning for the future. Get involved with them. They're down below too. And of course, you can like, comment, share and subscribe. And there is a super thanks button that you can get involved in the conversation. And you can click a bell that will send any Geordie Journals videos live, short or long, to the device of your choice, I'm sure.
Put on your TV.
Yeah, I don't think you get it. I said that on the live. I was like, you definitely advise you don't get a notification on your TV. No.
That's the future.
That's the future. Yeah.
You know what? We could be onto something, yeah. Right. I think we've kind of been round the houses. We've gone everywhere we want to go. When will the Geordie Journals fans get to see us again?
I will guess maybe at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Because Eddie Howe's pre-match press conference actually took place straight after this. It's under embargo. But we even joked, do you ask about Tino Livramento? And then do you ask for the Man U press conference, any update?
But just for everyone out there, what Dom's referring to is basically Eddie Howe did his post-match press conference where he obviously sits in here after the game and
to reflect on
the game. Then during that press conference, when everybody's kind of asked every question, Lee Marshall then closes that one off and says, right, now this is your preview for Manchester United. So it was all done in one go. So the joke would have been, you ask, how's Tino Livramento? And the first one, closed off by Lee Marshall. Any update on Tino Livramento?
Another one that came into my head, which would have been very silly. Man U obviously still playing as we speak and probably just gone behind to Wolves as Eddie Howe was speaking. And being like, Eddie, what did you make of Man U at the weekend? On Boxing Day.
When the game hadn't finished when he was doing it.
It's just silliness. But yeah, we'll be at Old Trafford.
Yes. And Manchester United themselves will be out without a couple of key players.
Bruno Fernandes and Manuel Ugarte both ruled out. Fernandes two bookings and Ugarte 50 yellow card.
It's not going to get ruled. It's not going to get overruled. That is it. I've seen
I've
seen the challenge.
Yeah,
Can't
Can it
happen.
not?
2 bookings.
Can't be downgraded or anything. I'm not really big on the rule book. It looks a late challenge. It's a little bit high. It's a bit high as well. I think it's every bit of yellow card, and that'll not get downgraded or whatever. Even if they can do it, I don't know.
No.
But no, that's a big boost to Newcastle. I think
100%.
Look, he's somebody that divides opinion, and he's probably not the type of player you definitely want your team
in the
to have.
trenches.
Yes, in the trenches with the armband, but his quality is undoubted.
Yeah.
A top class player in the Premier League. So for him not to be there, it just leaves them a little light. You look to the bench, and I've seen the likes of Christian Eriksen getting called off the bench, and Anthony coming back in the team, and Casemiro will probably come in for Ugarte.
Yeah.
So it does. It weakens them. It takes them back to.
Although Casemiro had game of his life down.
I was going to say it gets us shuddering when I think about the players coming in, because that's the Carabao Cup team, Carabao Cup final team almost. And you never know what they're going to do with Garnacho. Are they going to bring him back in the team? He might be one that comes in for Bruno Fernandes.
Does Rashford reappear? Probably not.
But he never. Yeah, possibly. So no, it'll be tough. It's just one of those that can Newcastle United shake the ghosts of old and actually go there and do something. They did that. The last few years. Obviously, we've been there alongside. Drew Nouts each there a few years ago in the league. Cup. And of course the Carabao Cup. We were there. You were on holiday, weren't you? Yeah. Yeah, you're shaking as if that was a bad holiday.
No, it was great. It was great.
Was it? Where were you?
Wasn't as good as mine.
Do you remember?
Went to a good spot.
Oh,
That's who you want to be sponsored by.
Rudden Park.
Aye, Rudden Park.
Beautiful spa, that one.
It was a birthday / anniversary / present.
Was it?
That's what it was, yes.
Bought for yourself or you bought for your other
I
half?
bought it, yeah.
You're a good lad.
Cheers.
Yeah. Right. Dom will not be at Rudden Park Spa on Monday, but we will be at Old Trafford. So like I say, do get involved in the conversation. There's also a man of the match vote. If you're involved in the Facebook community, you can do it on there.
Who's our man of the match?
Bruno.
Yeah, it's probably Bruno for me as well. Tonali in the first half, Bruno in the second half. Dan Burns probably slipped his way through being very good all game.
I didn't put him in the 4.
Oh,
It's
Dan.
one of them. No one's going to vote for Dan Burns, sadly.
I've put Dan Burn in before.
No one's going to vote for Dan
Slept
Burns.
his way through is a harsh way to put it, but what I meant was he barely had to break a sweat, but was excellent throughout.
Yes.
Is what I should say.
So the options were Fabian Schär was the defender
he was
that I
good,
put into the mix. Sandro
More
Tonali,
involved, I'd say.
Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton. You told me to put Joe Linton in. I thought Joe Linton was good today, but there was a few who maybe didn't get in. But it's an absolute runaway leader from what we've seen so far with Sandro Tonali, because you guys do love Sandro Tonali, as do we. He's been fantastic. Right, you guys have got to go. You've got family engagements.
I know, yeah.
this evening.
Sorry, I'm clock watching now.
I'm not. I'm just going to go for a pint, I think, by myself.
Oh, come with me.
Am I? No, I'm not really. I am going to go for a pint though. Right, good night from the Geordie Journos from St James's Park. And the next time we see you will be at Old Trafford.